Okay, what you're looking at here is a bushing tool. This is what we're going to use in order to do exactly what I just said. We're going to find the center of the bushing, hone it out, and put a new one in. So first of all, we're going to center it. Alright, now here we've got the plate in place, alright? And we're going to move it around until we find the exact center. This is a special end here that's pointed, and it's going to find the center of that hole. And once we find out exactly where the center of that hole belongs, and this takes a little bit of skill here, then we're going to lock it down, and now we're ready to drill that hole out. Now before we drill that hole out, we have to first find the correct size bushing that we're going to use. So we're going to start by going to a bushing assortment. And what we have here is a box filled with little tiny brass bushings, all different sizes. Depending on the job we're doing, we can use brass, or if we want to upgrade, we can go to solid bronze, which costs a little bit more. All right? Bronze costs about 3 times the cost of brass, but the job lasts 2 to 3 times as long. We do about 90% of our jobs in bronze unless we have a special bushing job that requires brass, because I don't want my jobs coming back. We want our jobs when they leave to actually never come back. We know we did a good job if we never see the customer again. So first thing we're going to do, we've decided we're going to go with bronze on this job. We're then going to gauge the size of the gear. Now in order to do that, we use a special gauge. Now here's the gauge that we're going to use. Alright? Now I don't know if you can see this clearly, but it's got little tiny numbers along here. Alright? This particular one was made in Germany. And we're going to take the gear that we're going to get a bushing for, and we're going to gauge the size that's needed. Alright? So that measures it. Now we'll go to our bushing assortment. We'll read that, and we'll go to our bushing assortment, and we'll choose one that's going to be the closest as possible to that size. Only we want to downsize it. We want to go a little smaller, because remember, we want to drill it out so it's a little bit so it has a perfect fit. We don't want to go with the right size. We want to go with one just a little smaller, and that allows us to hand broach it out to a perfect fit. Remember, we centered our hole here before, okay? Now what we're going to do is we know what bushing we wanted to use, okay? Remember the bushing, right? Now we're going to take that and we're going to re-gauge it to make sure we measured it correctly. And now we're going to go over to our assortment here. I already had this picked out, and this is a cutting tool. It's kind of like a drill bit, only it's a hand drill. We measure to make sure that that's the size that we're looking for. Once we've got that picked out, we're going to switch ends on here. Alright, we're going to put that in place and begin our cutting. Very simple. This is a great tool for this because we've already got it lined up. Now we're going to come down slowly, and this sort of takes a little bit of handwork. And we're going to slowly cut until we get this hole reamed out or cut out to much larger than it originally was. That's the size that we're going in with. There we go. Now we're almost ready to put the bushing in. Alright, now we've got both plates drilled out and we're all set to place the bushings in. So we're going to select the plate. We're going to put her in position here. We're going to lock the bushing, we're going to lock it down in the right position here. Okay. Now a bushing is put into a plate from the inside going out because bushings are not perfectly round per se as far as the sides. They got a slight taper. So if you put them in from the outside in, they can fall out. Going in from the inside out, they friction in, and with a light tap of a hammer, we're going to tap them into place with a small ball-peen hammer. That's going to flush them into the plate. And a good bushing job, you'll never be able to tell that the bushing was replaced. So let's take our bushing now. All right. Here's our bushing. We're going to put that into place here. Okay. Got to get her lined up just right. Whoops. And that's what happens sometimes. You've got to be careful. I'm going to bring down, line her up just right. There we go. And now we're going to get ready here. Let's zoom out just a little bit. We're going to tap her into place, okay? There she's seated. and that's it. It's in place. That bushing will last for the life of the clock now. It'll never fall out. We're going to go through the whole set of plates and do this over and over again until all the bushings are in. That's step 2 of bushing. All right, now we've got everything ready. We're ready to take it to the next step of the bushing process. We've got all of our stock bushings in the plate. Now remember, I said that these are stock bushings. They're not the correct size. They're smaller. If we took our gear and tried to fit it in there, it's not going to fit, okay? We want to hone that hole out now until it's a perfect size for that gear. We need proper end shake and proper side shake. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go to a cutting broach assortment, and here's some samples here. And I got one all set to go, and this is a simple broach. It's got sharp edges and fits inside of a hand vise. This is called a pin vise. All right. What we're going to do is we're going to take this and come down inside the bushing, and this is going to, as you can see, fit inside. It's tapered. It gets bigger as it goes. As I turn this and go down into the bushing, it's going to cut the hole bigger and bigger until I get a perfect fit with this gear. What's a perfect fit? Well, that's something you go to school for and you learn from doing several of them. I got trained on what a perfect fit is. If it's too tight, it's not going to run. If it's too loose, it's not going to run. It's got to be just right. I've done thousands of these, so if you're going to try this at home, I recommend that you start with something that you can throw away, because you're certainly going to be throwing it away when you're done. All right, I'll show you the next step in a moment.